What's going on, MMA fans? I'm back to do my Ultimate Fighter 8 finale predictions taking place December 13th on Spike at 9 p.m. Decent card. I'm going to work my way from the bottom of the main card all the way to the top like I normally do. Of course, 3 fights on this main card that are of fighters that fought on the Ultimate Fighter reality TV show. When I get into depth about those, I'm going to talk about the fighters that actually fought on the show. So let's get right down to this. First fight of the night, Junie Browning taking on Dave Kaplan. Junie Browning, good wrestling base, has good hands, training out of 4 Seasons MMA, Extreme Couture, and also specializing with Sean Tompkins. Junie Browning, it seems, has this issue as far as where his mental state is. I think the hype has really gotten to him from the show, and unfortunately I think he needs to kind of step back, gauge, realize that there's still some things he definitely needs to work on. He has a lot of talent. He could go very, very far in this sport, and the talent base is there for him. Unfortunately, another thing is his cardio, which has been suspect. On the show, he lost to Efren Escudero, fought Rolando Delgado, and also Jose Aguilar. Taking on Dave Kaplan. Dave Kaplan, Division I wrestler, has a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, technical striker, very, very good striker. In this fight, he's going to have a reach disadvantage, unfortunately. But in this fight, I think Kaplan's going to be able to come out, get inside of Browning's reach, use the clinch, take the fight down if he has to, work for position. I think he can either catch Browning on the feet or get Browning into a precarious position on the ground as far as with his grappling. But I think Kaplan's the better grappler. And I'm going to pick Dave Kaplan via a second-round TKO. Alright, next fight, Kevin Burns taking on Anthony Johnson. This, of course, a rematch. Kevin Burns, a blue belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt in TKB, Taekwondo, of course. His last fight, unfortunately, had the situation happen with the eye pokes. The fight was ruled in his favor when really it shouldn't have been. Later on, of course, it came out, and there were some apologies about the way that fight was decided. But he won via a technical knockout. He tapped Ron Carneiro, a black belt, in the fight before that. Very, very rare that you see a blue belt tap a black belt, but it does happen here and there. But Kevin Burns, all around, he's a very good striker, a decent striker. He's got good grappling skills. Anthony Johnson, good hands, good wrestling base, collegiate wrestling base. His last fight, of course, lost to Kevin Burns over the controversial stoppage. Knocked out Tommy Spear, fought Rich Clemente, and then, of course, Chad Reiner. In this fight, I think the same thing is going to happen that happened in the first fight. I think Johnson's going to be able to use his jab. If he has to take the fight down to the ground, I think he'll be able to. I think he'll be able to control position. If he does get the fight down to the ground and stay out of submissions if he has to, he's got decent grappling. But I think Johnson's going to win via a second-round TKO. I think he's going to catch Burns in something standing. I think he's either going to throw a jab or a 1-2 combo, catch Burns flush, follow him to the ground, and finish it up. So I'm going to pick Anthony Johnson via a second-round TKO. Alright, next fight, Jason McDonald taking on Wilson Govea. This fight, of course, is at 185. Jason McDonald training out of Pro Camp. A decent grappler, has pretty good submission skills, good hands, a good grappling and wrestling base as well. His last couple fights, he fought Jason Lambert, Demian Maia, Joe Dorkson, Yushin Okami, Rich Franklin, Ed Herman. The list goes on for him. Taking on Wilson Govea, who is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's got very, very good hands, dangerous hands, knockout power in either one of his hands. His last couple fights, fought Ryan Jensen, lost to Goran Weljic, of course, Jason Lambert, Carmelo Marrero. The list goes on for him. The one thing that you're going to have to watch for is going to be at the weigh-ins. If Wilson Govea can make the cut easily down to 185 and he doesn't look like he had to suck himself in, he has a very, very good chance of winning this fight. If he comes in and he looks like he's going to be gassed, if it looks like he had a very, very terrible time getting down to 185 like he did the last time, because he looked like he was really, really sucked in at the last weigh-ins, I think he's going to have some trouble with Jason McDonald. But I'm going to go on the bet that Wilson Govea comes in and is able to make that weight cut okay, and I think Wilson Govea is going to be able to control position. I think all around he's the better grappler. I think he's got the better hands. Jason McDonald seems to want to grapple with guys that are better grapplers than him. even though it makes for an entertaining fight on the ground. But I think Gouveia is going to catch him with something in like the second round, and then fall him to the ground and pull submission. So I'm going to go with Wilson Gouveia via a second round submission. Okay, next fight, Ryan Bader taking on Vinny Magalhaes for the 205-pound title crown for the Ultimate Fighter. Ryan Bader, good hands, good wrestler, good wrestling base, Division I wrestling base. On the show, fought Elliot Marshall, Tom Lawler, and Kyle Kingsbury. Vinny, of course, fought Krzysztof Zozinski in his last fight, Jules Bruchez, and Lance Evans. Training out of Team Quest. He's got very, very, very good kicks. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, first degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Very, very good leg kicks. He's got decent hands. In this fight, what I see happening, really this comes down to if Bader is smart and decides to keep this fight standing. If he takes this fight to the ground, I think Magalhaes can move in, try to, pull guard, work for submissions from the bottom. He's very, very dangerous on the ground. But I think what's going to happen is I think Vinny can actually muscle his way on Ryan Bader, get him down to the ground, try to control position, work for submission. And I'm going to pick Vinny Magalhaes by a second round armbar. I think he's going to be able to catch Bader. I could be wrong on this. Bader could pull a decision and actually avoid the submissions that Vinny has, but I think he's going to get caught. So I'm going to go with Magalhaes via a second round submission armbar. Alright, main event for the lightweight crown of the Ultimate Fighter. Felipe Nover taking on Efren Escudero. Felipe Nover, black belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, training out of Team Insight. Very, very well-rounded fighter. He's probably the most talented fighter on the show. His last couple fights, of course, Joe Duarte, Dave Kaplan, George Roop. He's very, very dangerous. He's got a very good ground game, good sprawl, very, very good clinch, good hands. I mean, he's a well-rounded fighter. Efren Escudero, he's got decent hands. He's a good wrestler, good wrestling base. On the show, he beat Junie Browning, Shane Nelson, and Ido Peliente. In this fight, like I said, I think Felipe Nover outclasses Efren in most facets of the MMA game. I think he's going to be able to impose his will pretty much on Efren, be able to control the clinch, control the fight standing. If he wants to take the fight to the ground, I think he'll be able to. What I see happening is I see Felipe catching Efren in the second round with something, falling to the ground, and finishing the fight on the ground. So I'm going to pick Felipe Nover via a second round TKO. So those are my predictions for this event. Let me know what you think. Leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive. And I'll be back the night of or the night after to do my review video. So on that note, you guys, have a great day.